My God, I hate drugs.
More people are now talking about suicide following the death of pop culture icons Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain. But what really is depression and how is it different from sadness? Our Makoy Papioko talks to a psychiatrist and a mental health advocate to learn more.
Filipino designer Jean Goldborn lost her 27-year-old daughter to suicide in 2002. Her daughter Natasha, a beautiful young bag designer who's making a name for herself in the United States, battled depression for years.
Everything that has anything to do with depression I consider still a big mystery, because each person is so unique that you don't really know that she's suffering inside.
To help with her own grief and help other people suffering from depression, Jean established the Natasha Goldborn Foundation in honor of her daughter. For over a decade, they have been advocating for mental health in the country. Psychiatrist Corazon Angela Cuadro says depression is such a tricky disorder to diagnose.
When we want to consider medical depression or clinical depression, we are looking at symptoms that are very normal, can also be very normal, okay? So it's very important just to have an awareness that there is such a thing as clinical depression that we have to consider.
The World Health Organization reports over 300 million people around the world live with depression. But how would one know if he or she has depression? Dr. Cuadro says they use the so-called Patient Health Questionnaire 9 to evaluate patients. Patients are usually asked if they are bothered by the following problems: little interest or pleasure in doing things, feeling down, depressed, or hopeless, trouble falling or staying asleep or sleeping too much, feeling tired or having little energy, poor appetite or overeating, feeling bad about yourself or that you are a failure or have let yourself or your family down, trouble concentrating on things, moving or speaking so slowly, or the opposite, being so fidgety or restless, thoughts that you would be better off dead or of hurting yourself in some way. This test is also available online.
And it's very easy to screen. Screening for depression is something that anyone can do at home, in school, in the office. Okay, so we have 9 symptoms. Okay, if you experience at least 5 of the 9 symptoms almost every day for 2 weeks, then that's suggestive or that warrants further evaluation. Okay, it's highly advisable that you consult with a medical professional.
Dr. Cuadro adds early diagnosis could also prevent worst cases like suicide. For 7 years now, the Natasha Goldborn Foundation operates the Hope Line, or the suicide prevention hotlines in the Philippines.
Right now we have 18 responders on a 24-hour shift, 7 days. We get about 40. 40. That's our average. But on a high season, we get as much as 70 to 80.
Following the death of American designer Kate Spade and chef and TV host Anthony Bourdain last week, Goldborn reports they continue to receive at least 90 calls daily, double their normal rate. She encourages the public to reach out to their loved ones at this time. She also shares self-help tips for people with depression.
One of the most important things that we're being taught now is music therapy. Listening to music and journaling the feelings. What's most important is mindfulness. Sit down in quiet and just keep on breathing very, very slowly.
Makoy Papioko, CNN, Philippines.
MedTalk Health Talk host Dr. Freddie Gomez is now with a psychiatrist to learn more about depression. Doc Freddy?
Yes, that's right, Christine. And right now, I'm with psychiatrist Dr. Lovie Go Chu from Makati Medical Center. Good morning, Doctora.
Hi, morning, Freddy.
Why is it that it seems that people, high-profile people recently, who seem to have everything in life, they have their fame, they have a good living, seem to just decide to end it all?
Well, the thing is, Freddie, you're working under the assumption that, it's because of that fame, in spite of the fame, they still want to die. The thing is, if somebody has depression, it's really an illness. It doesn't matter like how much money you have, how much fame you have. It's like, if somebody has like cancer or some other, serious illness, it doesn't matter if you have all of that. You still have an illness and you still perceive that life is not worth living.
Okay. No, is depression, a lot of people might think that depression is the same as sadness. Is this the case?
Definitely not. Sadness is a normal emotion. All of us go through sadness. We break up with a boyfriend, fight with your husband, you become sad. But, usually that sadness passes, Depression has a lingering quality such that, sometimes the sadness just stays on and on and on to the point that, your capacity to have relationships, your capacity to focus at work or to be productive, if that is already affected, then, that could be clinical depression already.
Okay, now with that being said, is it easy to spot someone who is depressed and not just sad?
Some would be easy to spot in the sense that they would look more withdrawn. They wouldn't focus so much when you're talking with them. But some there would be some people who really appear well, and then people just say that I was so surprised because you looked so well. So some are able to hide it well, the depression.
Okay, now what can you do naman, Doktora? If someone feels or sees someone or they think who has depression, what can they do?
First is you have to be aware, that there is only a limit to what, you can do. If our loved ones have depression, the most important thing is to ask them to get help. You do not have the burden of, carrying, making sure that person doesn't commit suicide. It's too big a burden for anyone.
No, what can you say naman to those who might have depression? What can someone say to them for them to sort of come out, to sort of talk about what they feel?
I think a non-judgmental attitude and really concern, if you ask someone, kumusta na? Not just, kumusta ka and that's it, but really wanting to find out how that person is doing. That one will go a long way already. And being willing to listen when somebody starts talking already.
That's perfectly correct. And where can they get help?
Well, it depends, no? For example, if it's just mild, moderate depression, sometimes medications would not be needed. But the thing is, who determines if it's just mild, moderate depression versus, severe, moderate to severe depression, wherein medications and therapy will be needed already. So I think the safest bet would be to see a mental health professional.
So that's the thing, this is something that shouldn't be, because sometimes there's a stigma. People are afraid to seek help, to seek professional help, to talk to a psychiatrist because there's a stigma associated with that.
Exactly, because just because you see a psychiatrist doesn't make you crazy or non-functional. Somebody just sometimes wants to see a psychiatrist because there are certain things that they're trying to figure out. But you won't know unless you see someone.
Right. Now, is there something that you could say, something that the right words that you could say to someone who you think might be on that path already, yes, of taking their life or committing suicide?
Freddie, I don't think there are words that you can say so much as the attitude that you can take, a non-judgmental, accepting, attitude, caring attitude. I think that would go a long way towards helping someone with depression. And of course, that attitude of helping them to seek help.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. Is there something you want to say to those who are watching with us, Doktora? Any message you have for them?
Yes, definitely. You see, depression is something that is quite treatable. It's quite treatable so long as you get diagnosed early, you get the help that you're supposed to help. Sometimes when somebody's super depressed, they perceive that there's no hope already, but that is the depression speaking. Once that depression is treated, the zest for life, that wanting to live comes back as well, and everybody deserves a chance to get better.
Right. Very well said. And also, just to go with that, to seek help. Talk to a psychiatrist, talk to a professional. It's okay. It's okay. And we'd like to thank you for joining us, Dr. Lovie Gochu, and back to you, Christine.
Thank you so much, Doc Freddy, and of course, Dr. Lovie Gochu for being with us here on New Day. And
it's been raining.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
It's actually been non-stop.
Yeah.
And, we are going to talk about it a little later on, but classes are suspended in most areas of Metro Manila. But when I woke up this morning, not too much rain.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
but during the weekend, I didn't see the sun shine over the weekend. So, like what you said, we have the weather report by Christine later on, and a lot of things happening over the weekend as well, right?
A lot. Well, a lot of sad news, of course. We heard about Anthony Bourdain having died by suicide.
Then before that, Kate Spade.
And, of course, Kate Spade. So later we'll be having Doc Freddy with us to talk to a psychiatrist, Dr. Lovey Go Chu, about this whole situation. What's the best way to talk to people who you may seem or feel is going through, hard times and tough questions to ask. And so,
how to recognize symptoms that may not be so obvious.
That's right.
That's always the hard one, yeah.
And also later, we have more sports news for you. A lot of things happening in the world of sports. But how about the king of clay, Rafael Nadal?
This guy is unstoppable. 11. This is his 11th title.
Unbelievable. Straight sets.
I want to be Rafa.
Against Dominic Thiem.
I want to be like Rafa.
Kaya ko ba talaga? You know this girl, Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer.
You know all of them. They're
both
so
amazing.
amazing. Yes. But this guy, walang kakupas-kupas. It's like non-stoppable. Well, congrats to you, Rafa.
Well, and also congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. We have more sports news and a lot of things happening again. Stick around until 7:30 for these stories and more. Meantime, here are the morning's headlines.
Heavy monsoon rains cause class cancellations in parts of Luzon. U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrive in Singapore ahead of their historic summit. And Asia's Seoul Supreme, KZ Tandingan, joins us live.
Still no let-up in the rains this morning despite the exit of Tropical Storm Domeng. The southwest monsoon continues to bring bad weather to most of Luzon. Pag-asa says it expects occasionally heavy rains in Metro Manila, Bulacan, Rizal, Laguna, and Quezon. All cities in Metro Manila except Makati have suspended classes. This covers all public and private schools in all levels except in Taguig, where the suspension is only up till high school. Because of the suspension, the Thanksgiving Mass and Recognition Day of the University of Santo Tomas Senior High School has been postponed, but the graduation ceremony of the UST College of Nursing will continue today. The provinces of Bataan and Batangas have also called off classes, along with Maykawayan in Bulacan, Bacoor in Cavite, and Olongapo and Subic in Zambales. Abra Province suspended classes only until high school. No canceled flights yet because of the bad weather as of 6 a.m. today. We'll give you an update on that as soon as it becomes available. Next, authorities are appealing to the public to properly dispose of their garbage, especially now that the rainy season has started. Otherwise, flooding could continue or even worsen. Zian Arcangel tells us why.
At the Metro Manila Development Authority's Libertad pumping station, garbage collectors are busy shoveling trash into dump trucks despite the non-stop rains. The trash comes from the pumps that are only supposed to expel flood water. From plastic wrappers to containers, the pumps have caught all kinds of garbage, even from far-flung cities such as Parañaque and Makati. People usually throw their trash into creeks and other waterways. Eddie Garcia, a team leader at the MMDA's Crisis Management and Monitoring Center, says throwing of trash causes heavy flooding in Metro Manila during non-stop rains.
Pinakalaban po ng pumping station po yung basura po. Pagka barado po hindi po makahigop ng tubig, masisira po yung pumping station po natin. Mas malaking problema po. Basurang tinapon nila, babalik po rin sa atin in the form of baha.
Garcia says the MMDA collects an average of 500 metric tons of garbage from waterways daily. That volume does not include the trash collected from more than 50 pumping stations all over Metro Manila. Garcia says MMDA is stepping up efforts to clear waterways in Metro Manila with the onset of rainy season. But he adds they can only do so much to solve the flooding problem in the capital if people continue throwing their garbage everywhere.
For the information of the general public po, dapat tubig lang po talagang dumadaan dyan. Hindi po kasama ang basura dyan. Malaki po ang matutulong ng general public po kung hindi po sila magtatapon ng basura kung saan-saan po, especially po sa ating mga waterways po.
In Malanday, Valenzuela City, floods reached ankle deep even with the light to moderate rains on Sunday. The residents say their barangay was the only flooded area, as the local government is still elevating the road. To cope with the flood, residents ride tricycles or jeepneys from their homes. Some wear boots or slippers and wade through the waters.
Ginagawa naman na. Kaya lang siguro umuulan kasi kaya in-stop muna. Mahirap po talaga. Mahirap talaga siyang lalo na araw-araw. Tapos ang mga estudyante mahirap pumapasok. Mahal din ang pamasahe ng trike pag may tubig.
Cian Arcangel, CNN Philippines.